What is an overnight success? Is it someone who garners popularity in one day, 1 month, or 1 year? Is it someone who works their ass off for over a decade without anyone noticing? Then once they pop off, are called an overnight success because the masses only started paying attention once they hit their popularity peak? In today's day and age, people tend to lean towards the latter a lot more than ever, with personalities on social media only showing off the highlights of their life and not the realities of what they're actually going through. This glamorization of life on social media has created an ecosystem of impatience. People want success without actually working towards that success. I've seen this all in the indie comic book space that I am a part of. I see so many people who are more talented than me, but just burn out and give up because they just can't hang with the hustle and bustle of the comic book manga game. They tend to compare themselves to others who are in the same spot that they want to be, but don't ask the important questions of what they did to get into that spot. I see so many people complain that it's so hard to become a popular comic book artist, that you have to not only be a good artist, but also a social media savant and a marketing genius, which is true. They claim that back in the day, all you needed was just to do good art and that was it. You'll be on your way to becoming popular, which is complete, utter bull crap. Back in the day, most artists had to hustle twice as hard as we do now. Comic artists had to drive all around the country to conventions to show off the work to editors, if they could even speak to an editor at the convention. They had to get copies made of their portfolio so they can mail off to publishers that they may or may not ever hear from again. If you wanted to self-publish, you better hope and pray that your city has a local printer that actually prints comic books or manga. Today, there are so many different avenues you can go down to get your work out to the world without even leaving your damn home. There's so many ways that you can promote your artwork, your comics, your manga all over the internet, whether it's through YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. There's so many different people you can try and mimic the way that they do their things to make them popular. There's so many different avenues and paths. You just got to choose the one that works for you. But no one wants to grind. These people only want to be at the top of their games. There's beauty in this struggle to the path of greatness. The more you grind it out, the more you'd appreciate it once you get to the place that you want to be. Look at the people who go viral on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. They're here today and gone tomorrow unless they have some sort of infrastructure behind them to help keep their profiles up, which most of these people don't because they don't even anticipate themselves going viral in the first place. So they don't know how to maximize on this virality and just sizzle out. This can be the same for comic artists. Imagine if you're in your first year of drawing comics and you get offered a job at Marvel or DC, or get offered to make your comic with Shonen Jump, but you have really no idea or understanding of how much time it takes to write, thumbnail, and draw a complete comic book page. You'll more than likely fail at getting your book done on time, and you'll probably squander your opportunity to work at one of these big companies. Patience is a virtue, a very important one. Malcolm Gladwell, an esteemed author of the book The Outliers, wrote about the 10,000 hour rule, stating the 10,000 hour rule says that if you look at any kind of cognitively complex field, from playing chess to being a neurosurgeon, we see this incredibly consistent pattern that you cannot be good unless you practice for 10,000 hours, which is roughly 10 years. If you think about 4 hours a day, if you put your 10,000 hours in, you will become great at your craft. This holds true. Most manga and comic artists you see today that are in the mainstream that are popular did not become popular after their first comic or manga. Most comic and manga artists put out tons of work before they strike gold. Let's take a look at one of the most popular artists of the last 50 years, Todd McFarlane. It took Todd McFarlane years before he got his big break. He said in so many interviews that he's got hundreds and hundreds of rejection letters from all types of comic publishers. But during the time that he was getting rejected, Todd McFarlane didn't give up. He kept working on getting his craft better and better, staying up all throughout the night, working on his skills. Even after he got off work or had to hang out and do something with his family, he would still stay up and work and practice until he got better. Then once he got his time to shine, he was up for the task, and the rest is history for Todd McFarlane. He's probably one of the most successful comic book creators of all time. He's worth like hundreds of millions of dollars. The only exception to this rule was probably the mangaka of Attack on Titan, but even with him, it took him to go to multiple manga publishers before he even got Attack on Titan picked up. 10 years, 4 hours a day. Think to yourself, are you doing this to become the greatest at your craft? I know I am. I get my 4 hours in. During my lunch break, I go and get in my car and practice my anatomy, my perspective, my inking, character designs. Before I go to bed, I do the same thing, or I practice on something that didn't get hit during my lunch break. I still have an extra hour or two to work on some drawings. You just have to grind it out. I have a full-time job. I have a wife and kids. I take college courses, but I still make time to work on my craft, whether it's drawing, writing, working on these videos to help promote myself. Just do whatever I have to become better. My personal philosophy is that there's 24 hours in a day to use, so use them, but don't overwork yourself or you will burn out quickly. I liken the grind of success to the story of Icarus. Icarus is an old Greek myth about a boy trapped in a tower with his father, who is an inventor. His father creates wax wings, who his son Icarus uses to escape from the tower. Icarus's father warns him not to fly too close to the sun or he will burn down, but don't fly too close to the water because if his wings get wet, he would drown. See, this is like success. If you try to do too much too fast without proper preparation, you can burn out quickly. But if you're lackadaisical or lazy, always putting stuff off to the side and I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do it the next day, you will just fall behind the wayside and drown in mediocrity. You just want to stay on the middle path of steadiness. Your slow grind to success is always the way. So stay inspired. Don't compare yourself to anyone but yourself. As long as you're getting better every single day, that's all that matters. And yeah, man, I didn't want to get like all preachy or anything like that, but I always just see this like on the internet, just people are always just like, oh, I want to be this and I want to do that and I want to be this person, I want to be that person, but I don't ever see anybody just slowly just grinding it out and just trying to get it in, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of bothers me, the rhetoric and a lot of things behind people's mindsets when it comes to what it means to become successful. Obviously, success is relative. For me to feel like a successful comic book creator or manga creator, it would be for me to get published. It didn't have to be like by Marvel or DC. It'd just be like by a publisher, just so I can say, I was published by this person at this time. Or if I was able to build an audience that would just consume my work, whether it's buy it or just for free. At the end of the day, I don't make comic books for the money. I do it for the love and because it's an entertaining thing for me to do. Just like when I go lift weights, I do it for me because I feel good after I'm done lifting. I have that same feeling when I'm done finishing a chapter of a comic or finishing a one shot or whatever the case is, right? I just think people always feel like there's this overnight success is just something that's true, and it's just really not. Being an overnight success it's just not a real thing. Some of my favorite artists, they were working and grinding on becoming a popular artist for years. I mean, for example, one of my favorite artists nowadays is Daniel Warren Johnson. Daniel Warren Johnson has been making comics for 15 plus years. He's now starting to reach his height in popularity. He had the best-selling comic of last year with Transformers #1, which I'm pretty sure sold I'm for sure over 100,000 copies, probably more than that, and had like 3 or 4 reprints of the issue. Daniel Warren Johnson, who started off with doing a comic book on a blog, on his own personal blog, and kind of got popular through there. Same with other creators like Fujimoto, the creator of Chainsaw Man, which is one of the most popular manga out right now. But he started off doing one shots. They put out a couple of like anthologies of Fujimoto's old work, which is really cool because I picked them up and you could kind of see the progression of his art from then to now, and it's it's really inspiring. Same thing with a lot of these artists and comic book artists. It just takes time. I mean, it just takes time to become where you want to be. Like it's really at the end of the day, the comic book game, the manga game, the indie scene game is pretty much who is willing to keep going and who's willing to keep it up, But you can't just keep going and doing the same thing over and over. If your artwork or that comic you're working on isn't working, you might need to adjust and tweak. Obviously, when it comes to being an artist, you want to get better every single day, When I look at my art for when I first started making comic books in 2021 to now, it's like night and day. Obviously, it took me 2-3 years to get there, and I'm still not where I want to be as far as my art, but I'm willing to put in that work. I'm willing to put in that time and effort. Like I said, there's 24 hours in a day. I try to all the free time that I have, I try to get it towards something that helps move me forward in my artwork or something like that. You know, I might not hit my 4 hours every day, you know, with drawing, but I might get another 1 or 2 hours in making another YouTube video that helps promote me as a person and promotes my comic books and my art. I might put in, you know, maybe 1 or 2 hours in just doing a quick drawing and stuff like that. You might have a full schedule like I do. So maybe instead of, like, when you do get into your practice and grind mode, you work smarter, not harder, if you know what I mean, when it comes to those little windows and pockets of time you have throughout the day to get better. But, you know, time is your best friend, I guess you could say, to an extent. You just got to keep going and just keep moving forward, because people are going to drop like flies every single day. Somebody's quitting, somebody's giving up, somebody's not doing what you're doing. And as long as you're doing what you need to do to progress and become better, that's all you can ask for yourself. You know, like I said, I look at my artwork from 2-3 years ago to now. It's just amazing. In the next 2-3 years, I'm gonna look back at my art today and I'm like, damn, that's crazy. You know, just trying to pump out a lot more content lately. I've finished my one-shot, my horror one-shot. Link is in the bio. Go check that out. I'm making these videos for now because I'm gonna get back into my grind mode. I'm working on my next one-shot, which is gonna be a Spider-Man fan comic. I'm gonna try to have it done for Heroes Con this year. My plan is to go to some of my favorite, you know, artists and stuff like that, get some feedback from them. That's like kind of my goal for this year, personal goal. So hopefully, you know, I'm able to get done by them. I appreciate you guys for watching the video to the end. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good noise, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.